Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. This is Jenga Njero. Now, today we have the Matchmaker show, and you understand the protocol here. Any other time we have a man on board, the man must be looking for a woman. In the same way, when we have a woman on board, that woman must be looking for a man. And because today we have a man, I will tell you the kind of woman he is looking for. But before then, if you're watching us for the first time, this is the Matchmaker show. We help men and women to get matches. And the moment they get the right ones, they meet their destinies. So you're not lost if you're new to the show. Subscribe, like the video, and don't forget to leave a comment. Also, the contact of our guest will be on my Facebook page at Jenganjeru. So you can follow Jenganjeru on Facebook so that you will be getting these updates in real time. Our guest on today's show is a single man in the UK, and you could be asking yourself, why is he single at the age of 51? What is he looking for, and what kind of a woman is he looking for? Now, our guest on today's show is Paul, and Paul is one of the men who have seen it all in terms of relational quagmire, in terms of relationships, in terms of betrayal, in terms of double closing. He was closed by the wife because they went together to the UK. Of course, they went for greener pastures, but all hell broke loose the moment they arrived there. It happens that in most cases, there is a notion that African men or African men who are living in Africa have such levels of, what do we call it, chauvinism, patriarchy, authority, leadership. You know what I mean. Like, you have a lot of authority as an African man if you're living in Africa, but all of a sudden that authority is clipped. The wings of that authority is clipped, or the wings are clipped the moment you close the borders to the UK, maybe to Europe, or even to the US, to Australia, to Canada, name it. And it happens because the law is different from what happens in places like Kenya. For example, in places like Kenya, an African state, patriarchy is paramount. The authority and leadership of a man is non-questionable or unquestionable. It is final. It is absolute. It is complete. And the man is regarded to very high levels of esteem. Yes, it happens in other parts of the world, yes, but again, to some extent. For example, it is very, very, very uh, un-African, for example, for men and women to share the same responsibilities. Like, you will rarely find an African man cooking, cleaning, washing clothes. And if he does that, it is not that it is a routine. Maybe the wife is not feeling well, or let's say they have just decided to show some romance. The man has decided to help the wife. Things like that can happen. The man can also cook for the family once in a while, but it cannot be a shared responsibility in Africa. It cannot be the level of African shared responsibility for man and woman, for husband and wife to share. At unakuta, today it is the wife who is cleaning, tomorrow is the husband's duty. Today in the timetable, the wife is cooking, tomorrow the husband is cooking. It doesn't happen in Africa. But and maybe because most Africans, I'm not saying all, most Africans, especially men in that setup, maybe taking up more responsibilities like the leadership of the family, the provision of the family, and things like that. But when you close borders, for example, you realize that people share bills. If it's house rent, it's 50-50. Maybe when they go out on a date, 50-50, and things like that. And because of those differences, then the submission of the wife automatically goes down. And that is the case I am discussing today, as narrated by Mr. Paul himself. So, Paul is a 51-year-old man. He went with a wife. They were looking for greener pastures. Their marriage was 7 years old when he went there. So he's been in the UK for quite some time. And he was living in Manchester. And he was living in Manchester. And now what is the name of that state or town or that city? I have forgotten the city. But all the same, where he lives is not important, but you just know that he's in the UK. I've forgotten. If I remember as we continue with the video, I will mention it. So Paul is looking for a wife who is in Africa and willing to travel. And that wife should be either officially divorced with papers, all widowed. Because what happens is that most of the time, people who have been casually separated have a higher responsibility, or they have higher chances of getting back with their exes. These are not my words, these are Paul's words. You know, I'm his spokesman today. And he's looking for a woman who can travel to the UK so that they can live together, because he's not planning to come back to the country. The moment he went there, he says that he saw the epitome of betrayal. The man who had, for the last 7 years in his marriage, provided everything, cared for the family, and they decided to go out and explore possibilities. Because, you know, sometimes you want to go out there and dare. You want to dare abroad. You want to go out and make a living. You want to go there and make your dreams come true. Sometimes it is wisdom to realize that your dreams cannot be fulfilled from where you're seated. So you have to walk out there and make those dreams count. So that is exactly what he did. But unfortunately, it didn't materialize because the wife became nonchalant, became a don't care, and the wife even started cheating. And you see, sometimes I like listening to both sides of the story. So we were able to communicate with the ex wife, who moved on, in fact, and he's requesting, the man, he's requesting for somebody who has official divorce papers, because they have officially divorced with the wife. The wife was able to tell me that, you know, she couldn't, how she was brought up, they were not brought up in a 50-50 arrangement. So her submission had to go down if the man's ability to provide was to go down. You see, when you live in a place like, let's say, a middle class estate in Nairobi, give us examples of middle class estates. Maybe Kasarani, Kahawa Sukari. Kahawa Sukari is in Kiambu. I'm just giving an example. Maybe Buruburu, places like that. Donholm, some faces of Umoja. You know what I mean? And if you are probably in a middle class estate, the cost of a house, probably for somebody who has a family, let's say a two bedroom apartment, we range anywhere from maybe the cost of a two bedroom apartment, we range anywhere from maybe 18 or 15,000 to 30,000, 18,000 to 30,000 Kenya shillings per month. Okay, and the converse is is, uh, is ironical when you go out there, because in places like the UK, in places like the US, I've interacted with those people. They will tell you that such an apartment will be anywhere between maybe $1,500 to $3,000, maybe even to $4,000, depending on where you're living. Maybe between 150,000 Kenya shillings to what? 150,000 shillings to 400,000 to 300,000 Kenya shillings. So one person cannot be able to foot that bill, bearing in mind that rent is not the only factor. You have food, maybe you have children, you have fees, you have medical expenses and things like that. So it's 50-50 deal. If you go there and you're both working, both of you have to work. So the wife was used to a housewife arrangement, and of course, when she was in Kenya, she was receiving some small allowances here and there, some petty cash here and there. And if the game changed, then she had to change her attitude as well. And that is exactly how they parted ways. So as we speak, Mr. Paul is a single man for the last 7 years. And the marriage, they lived in the UK for quite some time. They couldn't see each other eye to eye. They were living in the same house, paying bill. Like wewe bill, wakati wa bill ukifika, unawekelea pesa yako hapo, mwingine anawekelea yake hapo, mnalipa. You're not talking to one another. Now the kids are big, so you could be asking yourself, I want him to give you the detailed story. So I want to go directly to what kind of woman he is looking for. But before then, if you're watching us for the first time, I said again, this is the Matchmaker Show. We help men and women to get matches. If you're new here, you can subscribe to this channel, and it is free to do that. Also, you can like our videos, and in the count of 3, 2, 1, you can confirm whether you have subscribed. Just scroll, check whether you have subscribed, and also add your subscription and join this matchmaking family. Yes. Now, He's looking for a woman who is between the ages of 45 and 50 strictly, because he doesn't want to add more kids. You see, if you have your own children, it will be an added advantage, because you will not have the need to add more. But probably you can adapt or adopt one. You can adopt a kid together, and maybe raise the kid. He's open to that, but he's not willing to sire another kid. He says he doesn't have any medical complication. He is a permanent resident, and he comes back home once in a while. So the last time he was here, excuse me, I have to disconnect that so that we can finish the video, and then I'll be able to pick it once we are done. So he comes home once in a while. The last time he was here was 2022, after immediately after the general elections. He was here in the month of November, and he went back. So for maybe 1.5 years, he has not been able to come to the country. But if he wants to travel, he can travel. This is the juicy part. If this woman will tick the boxes of a God-fearing woman, a woman who is decided, a woman who is, and God fearing in the sense that the woman will be submissive. Because you see, you cannot go to the UK and sit down. It is good to enjoy the privilege of marriage, but marriage is hard work. And he says that even the woman who is coming, he believes the woman will not be an angel, but he also wants a woman who is not indoctrinated to equality, thinking that the man and the woman are equal, irrespective of what they earn, irrespective of what one brings on the table in terms of material resource. If you're that kind of a woman between the ages of 45 and 50, if you're 51 like him, that's a deal breaker. He is not looking for somebody who is 51. And this person should also have 2 kids maximum. If you have 1 kid, that's good. If you have 2, the better, because then that's what he's willing to have. But other arrangements can be made, and he's looking forward to getting a woman. He's a Kenyan citizen by birth, and he's also a resident of the United Kingdom. If you're there and you could be interested, I will post his contact on my Facebook page at Jenganjero, so that as many as those who are interested in him can get in touch. Okay, and these people can begin dating. So with that said and done, then we can only hope that he will get a good match from our show, because again, we said that this season 2, we will do our very best to ensure that we match as many as we can, as many as those who can approach our desk. And I told you, if you want your story to be aired, you can contact our office on 0712 997 660. That is +254 for those who are out of the country. +254, that's the country code. +254 7 0 +254 712 997 660. And you will either get in touch with Liz, Alice, or even Tony. And we added a new team member on the list recently. I'm going to introduce him to you shortly as we continue. So until next time, this is Jenganjero. Don't forget to subscribe, like the videos, and always, you can also follow me on TikTok. By the way, I officially joined TikTok. If you're on TikTok, we can follow one another. Bye bye. God bless you.